Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Between Two Brokers. Today, we have Mary Welch Fox Stasik of Mary Welch Fox Design on the podcast. Mary Welch, thank you for joining us today.
Thank y'all for having me.
Close your jaws, people. She's a hottie.
I'm blushing.
So, Mary Welch, your story is, you're very interesting to me because your style is so unique compared to what we typically see here. Mm-hmm. So thank you first for that. Because we see a whole lot of sameness.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure you do a low country cottage, but
Absolutely do. Absolutely do.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got to do what they can.
No one looks at a Mary Welch Fox Design and goes, very demure, very cute, right?
Nobody looks at me and says that either.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about that a little bit. I know I listened to a podcast that you were on, so I know a lot about your background. Is your mom an artist?
She is, yeah.
Okay,
yes.
So talk about how you were influenced kind of growing up and maybe what you thought you wanted to be.
Absolutely. My mom is an artist. Was also really into making our homes, beautiful growing up. So I loved that as well. And she was into real estate. She was a real estate agent, loved buying and flipping homes.
What didn't she do?
I know I've taken after her a lot. She was a jazzercise teacher too, and I did fitness also. I'm like, well, we are pretty similar.
Where'd you grow up?
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
An artist, a painter, or what type
She's
of
a painter.
artist? Okay.
Yes, she's actually a really talented painter, and she doesn't see that in herself, but she's really incredible. Like when I paint, it's slapping things on a canvas compared to what she does. She spends days and days developing these amazing paintings. So she's really incredible artist, worked in design stores, worked for designers, worked in real estate. She was also in mutual funds. So she's taken her Series 7. She's a badass.
Wow.
So she heavily influenced my design, but so did my dad. So when my parents got divorced, my dad had a local designer help me with my bedroom, and I think that was like one of the first windows into what design was, and understanding too that my space affects my mental health so much. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to create that for other people, and trying to understand everywhere I go, I have to create this kind of space for myself to feel comfortable in it. I don't feel good in disarray or when things aren't going good, the lighting's wrong. Like it just messes with my psyche. So I kind of was raised feeling that way, and my parents helped facilitate
how old were
that.
you when your dad was like, here's the designer, tell her what you want?
So we actually ran into this designer at a fabric store. He took me to the fabric store to help me put fabrics together. It was the mother of one of my friends, and she was in there, and she helped me put together. Her name was Jeannie Johnson. She helped me put together all the fabrics. And I was probably 13, 14, in that impressionable age, and my room looked terrible looking back at this to this day. Like that, what I created, it was like maroon and like flowers and
New Kids on the Block posters.
Yeah, like nope. I had a ballerina pose and like checkers, mixed all kinds of patterns mixed. I mean, I was trying. They worked. She helped me make something that worked, but I had picked all the ones, and I just, it was the beginnings.
But that's amazing, though, that you had, because then you were with somebody that you trusted, and you probably looked up to her and had this kind of cool professional experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't really still grasp that was a career until later, until I was 2 years into college and realized that you could study interior design too. So, I kind of was raised thinking you could only be a doctor or a lawyer for some reason. I don't know why, or a business person, whatever that meant. So finding out that interior design was a career was really exciting.
So you studied design.
I did.
And then what happens?
Then I moved to New York, worked for an interior designer there. I actually started working for a designer in Denver, Colorado. I had to change my major 2 years into college. I was a biology major to start. And then interior design was an automatic 4-year school because it's kind of like an architecture degree. And my last year, I didn't have any classes really because I'd already taken everything. So I had a design job in Denver and met an interior designer from New York who came into this luxury furniture store where the designer worked, and I told him I wanted to work in New York, and he ended up hiring me. So I moved to New York with him. His name is Larry Laszlo. He was amazing. Worked there for a little while, and then moved to Chicago to be with my husband, and that's when the market had crashed. So getting a design job was like next to impossible. We're the first careers to go, really. So I branched out, did music, taught yoga, did all kinds of things, and then circled back to interior design. And it's really, I've kind of been all over the place ever since. But had a music business for a little while, made VIP packages, and then somehow it's like interior design just always came back. And now it's, it's staying. I'm not taking on any other ones.
So did you reestablish yourself when you came to Charleston? Or
yes, that was really hard, actually. I felt when in Chicago, I had just gotten my name out there, just had my first magazine publication, just like really made headway, and found out I was pregnant. So we moved here because I have family here. My mom and my sisters are here, so I wanted to be closer to them. Plus, Chicago was like painfully cold to me. So I kind of rectified, like, I'm just gonna have to start all over again, or I'm gonna fly back and forth, and that's what it is. And I did fly back and forth for a little while, and then kind of actually let interior design go for a minute to be a mom, to work on music, and had a VIP business where I built VIP packages for my husband's band and other bands, and kind of felt like, all right, we're good here. But ultimately got back into interior design here, working for free, building my way back up, and here we are.
Working for free.
There's some of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to hire you if you've got nothing to show them?
Okay,
totally.
Anybody's trying to start out that wants to work for free,
Call Stacy.
I don't recommend it. No, it was a good way to get just taking minimum amounts, like where I'm really actually paying at the end to work, but at least it's covering my basic
But
needs.
is it like, okay, I want you to talk about how you get going with it. You're with your girlfriends, whatever. They come over to your house. They're like, your style is incredible. I'm making a lot of assumptions, but that's what I'm guessing happens. And then they're like, could you do so-and-so's room? Is that how it starts?
Organically, yeah.
I mean, it does in a lot of people's cases, I'm sure. It didn't for me in this instance, because moving here, I didn't know anybody besides my sisters, so I didn't have any girlfriends. And I just had a baby. I didn't even really know how to meet people, really, except for I did eventually meet people by going to yoga, but it started by helping. My brother-in-law's a real estate agent, and he built spec houses, and I would start to help him make selections on those, and just let me in your houses to do these houses for you and show you what I can do. Get my name back out there, and then that's kind of, and just word of mouth too. I could still fly to Chicago, but word of mouth, posting pictures, trying to get out there.
Yeah. How would you describe your style?
Ooh, gosh, modern. I'd say modern, eclectic. I try to really tap into my clients' own vibes, like what is it that I'm feeling from them, and how do I make that come alive in their space? I'd like to say I'm a fairly intuitive person. I'm a feeler. I can feel emotions. I try to feel it out and spend time with people, and then hopefully hit that in what I create for them.
Every designer that has come on here that's their gift, right? Like, they have to kind of translate what their client's vision is. But the people that pick you, again, this is where we started at the beginning, they're not subscribing to traditional home magazine.
Right.
I mean, I'll pick some words. Edgy. Like, you're not.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Yes,
yeah, rock and roll,
definitely.
edgy.
And you're married to a rock star. I mean, it makes perfect sense. And I think yeah, I mean, it's not anything you would see anywhere else in Charleston.
Right. Yes.
So maybe more unique. I don't know. I don't know what, and that was another question I was going to ask you is like, when we interview interior designers, we like to ask them where they like to source stuff locally to support local businesses and stuff. But I'm guessing that's probably pretty tough for you to do.
It's tough. There are some places, like I still go to, Fritz Porter, Elizabeth Stewart, they have amazing pieces. Michael Mitchell has great pieces here. Celadon, even. You can find something from anywhere. But you're right, some of my bigger pieces have to come from sources that aren't here. And it's fun that way, A lot of vintage pieces, a lot of first dibs and cherish, recovering those and just making things more unique. And our artwork is a big piece of that as well. But yeah, I assume when people come to me that they're not coming for the basic style, but if they are, I can do that too.
I just had a question pop into my head on something you just said, because I'm having an argument with my husband right now about whether or not...
you're right.
Thank you.
Everybody needs that affirmation.
He has this couch. Okay. He's had the couch since before we were together. It's from Mobilia. It's a very nice couch. Okay. We've been together 12 years. Let's call this couch 14 years old. It's nice. I think you probably spent $15,000 on it.
Right.
He's like, let's just get it recovered. It's huge. It's a sectional. Okay. When do you know whether to trash something or recover it? And how expensive is it to recover something?
It can be very pricey.
Yeah.
But if the bones are good on the couch, that is great. It just depends on if buying a new couch is going to outcost what it is to recover it. So I'm assuming you'd probably pick a really nice fabric, and then you have to get it to the place, recover it, and bring it back. Is that going to cost you close to $20,000?
Then you have no place to sit. I have a question about that.
Yeah.
I know the couch well.
Yep.
We've discussed it before. Spence, take a hint. Okay. But my thought is you probably don't want the limitations of a sectional.
That's true.
My mom hates sectionals. She was in the furniture business. I don't know. Yes,
it dictates everything else we can do in there.
Men love sectionals. I don't know. What is it? My boyfriend has one from Rooms to Go, and it's about to go, and I think he might shed a tear. I might just put it in the garage for him,
Yeah.
But they love sectionals, and my mom. That's why I think she hates it, because again, then you're just so limited.
You really are. It does shape the whole room, and I get it. There are some really comfortable sectionals. I love when you're like cuddled up, you have a bunch of kids laying on it, whatever. That's one thing, but if it's the focal piece of your room and a really and meant to be a design piece, then it's better to switch it up.
I have an idea.
Furniture.
Okay.
Y'all take a yoga class.
Yep.
Get hot, sweaty Mary Welch to come up in there and say, "Hey, Spence."
Yeah.
Ew, that couch
Has to go.
And they'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Done.
I bet the couch is the most argued over piece of furniture in anyone's home.
It is, because the men want it for comfort, and I don't ever sit on my couch.
Yeah, unless they have a big old nasty recliner.
Oh God,
The couches.
no, God, you had the recliners or no?
Yeah.
Oh no.
You don't think we're gonna give in?
Oh, God.
Okay. So did your mom remarry?
Yes.
Okay. So does her husband have a recliner?
No. Oh God, no.
My mom gave into the recliner thing, and now she wants her own. Now she's 75. My dad's 81.
Yeah, at
but
one
I'm
point,
just telling
do you
you,
just say, fuck it, let's live on recliners?
I'm like, she keeps asking me about recliner advice, and I'm like, Mom, I got nothing. I don't even know where you would buy anyway.
Yeah. No,
All right,
no
this
recliner.
this was supposed to be about Mary Welch's cool design, and we've gone to sectionals and recliners.
Spence's
Sorry.
couch. Okay.
But we know now that we don't do recliners.
Yeah. It's the first thing on the no list.
Right.
Number 2 is sectional.
Yeah.
If it's your main living room.
If it's
you
your
have like a
little
kid's playroom in the
Yes.
loft or whatever,
Yeah.
like where your family watches movies, fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you see this sectional from everywhere that you are downstairs in my house, and it's, where we entertain. Okay, well, that solves that.
Okay, so Mary Welch, I want to talk about your personal design. I mean, your personal house situation, because I saw that you had your house for sale, and congratulations, you just sold it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so you had a property on Isle of Palms.
Correct. Yeah.
So why did you pick that? And then what are you going to do next?
I picked it. I grew up vacationing on Isle of Palms. I love Isle of Palms. So I was doing a job on IOP at the time and kept driving by this old dilapidated house. And one day a for sale sign by owner was in the yard, and I was like, this is serendipitous. I call and end up talking to this family for a while. And at the time, it was still before everything ballooned. It's on the side closer to Breach Inlet. So it was 5th and Carolina, one row back from the beach, like a dream. To be that close to the beach is a dream for sure. And I wanted a major renovation, and this house was super weird. So that's what I loved. It had all these big windows inside. It looked like an 80s. It had the glass blocks. It had pink carpet everywhere, the old wood. Obviously I was going to rip that out, but just the vibes of it.
The uglier the better.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The vibes were
same
there.
taste.
Yeah.
Glass blocks.
What is up with us in the 80s houses? I'm like, give me an
man.
80s house all day and I
All
will run
day.
with it.
Absolutely.
Was your house built in the 80s?
86.
Yeah.
Last one was 87.
Yeah.
See, I
I
love
have
it.
a type.
Yeah, same. I do too. And there's this one, this wasn't that architect. I guess there's one, kind of mid-century architect that's here, that was here, that built a certain style of house that I really gravitate towards as well. This one wasn't that. These homeowners did that, but did their own. But there was so much weirdness in this house that I had to have it.
Mm-hmm. So you like South Windermere, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. So I finally talked to the homeowners. I took 4 different builders through this home, my brother-in-law through this home, and everybody said, you have to plow this house. It's not livable. And of course I was like, no, watch me. And I was like,
Mama knows best.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, I'm going to make this work. And we did. We took it down to the studs. It had serious issues with mold at the time, and we had to take it apart. Mm-hmm. There was wood rot, there was all the things. So, I had to give up on some of my wants, mm-hmm. but that was okay because I wanted that location, number one. So we put it back together again and made it weird and funky in the inside to match its vibe. How long did that take? Over a year. Mm-hmm. Over a year. We were quoted 6 to 8 months, which I was like, okay. Yeah. But over a year, and then we were in, and it was worth it. We had the best time there. Saying goodbye to this house was not easy. We all cried. That area became, there's a lot of permanent residents in that one spot, mm-hmm. and our community was top notch. Mm-hmm. The people around us, we all took care of each other. They really took care of us and our girls, and I did not want to leave that because they're just, the community makes it, but real estate is a part of our job. So mm-hmm. We ultimately ended up wanting to sell, and now we're going to look for another place. And I'm looking for a similar kind of weird place. There's a cool one out in West Ashley.
Mm-hmm. West Ashley has a lot of the mm-hmm. super funky.
Absolutely.
And you can also get a deal there.
Yeah. It's one of the only places left. Yeah.
Well, and I don't want to bag on West Ashley, but are you gonna be happy in West Ashley?
I don't know.
You got used to IOP and Mount Pleasant life.
I know, and our kids leaving school would be weird. So I have my eyes on a house that I'd like to turn over, I think. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, we're gonna invest in some real estate. Mm-hmm. I'm actually building a couple of townhouses in North Charleston, mm-hmm. and then figure out while we sit on what the next move will be, because you're right. Ultimately, I've gotten mm-hmm. really used to this community and that area, and would like to keep my kids in the same school.
Erin's a snob. Okay, I'm not saying anything about the school system, but Erin's a snob, and there are cool people in every part of Charleston. Okay, and
Oh,
I'm
for
I'm
sure.
actually helping a lot of people in West Ashley right now, so I've had the pleasure of hanging out with them.
I lived in West Ashley for 7 years. I'm not hating on it. I'm just I know she goes to the works, you know.
Well, that's
And
the thing is you
get used
you
to
develop your community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the only part of my like leaving my family.
Yeah.
But which I'm like, it's not that far. I'll just
Well, where do
drive
they
over
live?
here
Because
and
I
over
always
here.
think about that.
Yeah.
Where does your mom live? Where does your sister live?
My mom is in Ion, and my sisters are on Sullivan's and
Yeah.
Old Village, so they're
Yeah.
all really close together. So it's
See,
hard to.
That's a reason.
That's the
That
only
for
part,
sure.
and I rely on them a lot because my husband
Sure.
tours a lot, and I'm at home alone a lot. So I actually rely on my family
Of course.
a lot to help me, navigate difficult situations when I have to have kids somewhere or a client need, at the same time. So that's my part that like, well, shoot, if I'm
Yeah.
out there, I can't be like, one kid is stuck over here and one kid's
Right.
stuck over here and
Yeah.
I'm stuck over here. Can somebody please help me?
Yes.
Mathis Ferry has a lot of funky houses in the
It does.
70s and 80s.
Yeah, it does. I'm
Anyway.
still looking there. And I think off rifle range, there's some
For
good
sure.
opportunities. I just have to wait for the right one
Yep.
to pop up.
Yep.
Yeah. But there's West Ashley does have some really cool ones. There's the only place that actually has some mid-century modern-esque ones.
Yes. I fall in love with them and send them to Erin all the time, and she tactfully responds, "Looks like you."
That's what my brother-in-law says. He was like, "Oh, I found this," and he'll say affectionately, "This ugly house, you're gonna love it."
I'm like, I'm
like,
dying.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's very taste specific.
Yeah. Taste specific.
Taste specific. I love that.
So I recently did a design project, which I know you came and saw, and I think one of the biggest things when you're starting with a blank slate, whether it's a renovation, if you're like gutting everything or you're building new, is just like when you go into a room, where do you start first? Let's pick a bathroom. Is it the tile first? Do you want to find the countertop or the vanity style that you want first? Is it like this room demands this paint color? Or is it like, is there no clear formula?
No clear formula. I do start with some ideas, but every house, every room, every project somehow speaks differently, and some people do have clear formulas for sure. My brain is not a clear formula type person. It's that inspiration hits and then it just rolls, and we go from there. It's like one tile could stand out, and I'm like, okay, that's what we're building from. Or one light fixture is going to fit in here. That's where it rolls. But there's no clear formula for me. Yeah, I've tried to make clear formulas. My brain just doesn't.
And I also think too, it's like, as an interior designer, you're looking at this stuff all the time. So I can see that, you'll walk into the bathroom and you'll be like, oh, I know exactly what is going to go, like if you're not looking at it all the time, you might not really know where to start. And then you're like, okay, well, but I love that. Tell us, like, in your experience in dealing with your clients, like, what are their biggest challenges? Like, what are they afraid of? What are like the things that you have to say to your clients every single day? Because I repeat myself all day long.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Interior design is a process. It takes time. So the biggest challenge is understanding, there's a lot of people ask for three things: price reduction, quality, and quickness. And there's really no such thing as having all three. So we have to weigh out our options here. Like, yes, we can save money. We can high-low things all day, but we can't, if you want things to last a long time, I probably wouldn't buy the lowest end for everything, because that will fall apart in a few years, and I don't want you to call me mad at me. Some things you just have to wait on. You just have to, if you want what you want, we've got to wait. If we don't want to wait, then we might have to reduce the quality. But I actually heard this from Courtney Bishop once, and it made me laugh because it's true. Buy once, cry once. And that's so true. If you just buy that one piece once that you want, you won't end up a couple years later wanting to, I should have done that. I should have done the one that I wanted first. So it's the patience, and also mistakes happen. Like, this is the you just designed and built a house. It is, there's no way it's a perfect process.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is very hard. There's so many moving pieces, little things happen, but we're professionals and we deal with it all day long. So the point is that we're there to mitigate those, fix it, and roll with it, and it's okay. But if we focus on all the tiny little things that can go wrong on a job site, because they will, but there's so many contractors, you can't control what every single contractor does, then it will drive you crazy. Just like we know that we're in good hands and it's going to be okay. But you got to trust the process, and that's, mistakes happen.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about your relationship with contractors. I'm sure there's various scenarios where I'm sure you have contractors that love working with you, that refer you to their clients, but also maybe you have situations where your client brings you in. They've already selected their contractor, and now you have to be best friends with this person, get to know them. Explain what that relationship is like and the conversations that you have with contractors and how you manage them.
Absolutely. It is best when you have a relationship with the contractor, because then you just start to speak each other's language easier and understand. I try not to. I know that contractors can get very, frustrated easily if time delays, and I get it, because it's also bad for money on the back end for the client. So we stick with our times. We stick with, keep on schedule. Try to stay on the nice side. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. But stand up for what I need at the same time. So if something's wrong and that's not done the way we specified it, I have to come in and do that. But I have to just try to stay on the happy side and keep it a copacetic, happy relationship rather than going head to head, because that doesn't help anybody. And that's what I try to kind of tell with my team too. Like, let's just stay like in a working relationship with these people. We stay on the, as happy and copacetic as we can. Everybody's trying their best. We got to make it work. The worst part is if you come on site and that doesn't happen as much anymore, but when I was younger, I would say I had a lot of instances where you're treated like you have no idea what you're talking about or dismissed so easily. And that is so frustrating as a professional that's worked in design and construction for so long, that you're looking at somebody and telling them that's not how that's done. But they will dismiss. But, I will say it's gotten better the relationships that I've gathered with people, but there is a time, and there are still people that do that, and that will send me. That's when the relationship starts to not be as copacetic.
But then, I think that this is a really important business message, and Erin and I have managed some of our agents through this recently, and it's how we tell people to operate all the time. Like, don't act a fool, don't burn any bridges, don't argue with somebody, and if somebody starts losing their mind on you, just never do business with them again.
Right. Yeah.
And I would think that a contractor would be relieved to see that there's a designer involved on the other side, rather than just, a homeowner who's never done this before, maybe done it once in their life, because what to anticipate, at like a timeline, like we need the tile first and the, blah, blah, blah. Whereas, homeowners like, oh my God, I bought the perfect powder room mirror, it's like, okay, well that's 13 months from now.
Yeah.
But I remember, John Frick built my house, and I know that you know him well and worked with him. And he would call me one day and be like, what kind of bevel do you want on the countertop? And I'm like, the what? The bevel. I don't know what that means, and he's like, I need, this decision made by, and I'm like, I haven't even started looking for that. Yeah. At least designers, I'm sure you have like a schedule or, some kind of spreadsheet that keeps you on track, and you're already thinking about this stuff in advance. So, shame on these men.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We build a book out with all the details in it and try to make it as easy as possible for everybody on site. We'll have them done by rooms. We'll have them done by categories. So like, it's infallible, I'll say. Like, the front end is done by rooms, the back end is done by vendors. Like, you can't miss it. And then when they do call, I'm like, it's in the book.
Yeah. Reference the book I gave you. Did you see that book I gave you?
Yeah.
Where's the book I gave
together.
Yeah, I mean, I am a huge fan, and I've said it 1,000 times, that people need to have a designer working for them when they're doing a huge renovation project, remodel, or building a home. But you can crack the whip.
Yeah. We can be an advocate.
So
We can
wonderful.
start, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we
love
notice
that.
things on site
Yes.
that a homeowner might not,
Right.
that we can stop and in the process and say, this isn't working, or this isn't done the way it was specified, or that's not the right paint sheen,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, because even if you do specify it, it often sometimes isn't done how you specified it, but you have to advocate for yourself to have it changed back. And sometimes people don't know that, even if they're following an architecture book that's so specific, they might not notice that some of the details aren't properly executed. So, and that's not necessarily the contractor's fault either. It's just, there's so many things that go into a house that sometimes things are missed.
So many things.
So many things.
Literally a million decisions.
Yes, 1,000, like more than you can imagine.
Yes.
That gets down to the nitty gritty, and you just have to stay on top of how each one of those is executed all the time, and that's needs a couple people to do.
For sure.
So obviously you got into this business because you love design. Mm-hmm. What have you learned about the business side of being an entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh, it is nothing like what I thought it was going to be, and y'all know that too as entrepreneurs. It is, I do so many things that on a day-to-day basis that aren't what I thought. I'm not designing the home all day anymore, which is, it's great because I love now learning about the intricacies of business, and it's just a lot more pressure, but in a good way. I love building and trying to learn how to scale, and those were all things that I had no idea. They don't teach you in interior design school. They teach you how to make a plan for a home. So learning the business side has been much harder and more fun than expected, and it's definitely something I have to learn. I learn something new every day, and make a mistake and move past it, and watch YouTubes on how to build a business. How
to use QuickBooks.
Right.
Yeah.
All
Do you
things.
find that it's easier to advocate for your client against a contractor than it is to advocate for yourself against your client? Like for these people who want a price reduction, it's like,
Yeah,
you can have it out with exactly.
Yeah. The contractor and I can figure it out far easier. Advocating for yourself is hard. With
It's
the
hard.
client. And it's interesting because design is one of those businesses that people ask for discounts in all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go to most people's business and ask for a discount. So it's interesting that we get asked a lot, and it puts you in a weird situation because you're like, well, I have overhead I have to carry, and I have to pay to do the I don't just make up the numbers.
Yeah.
And we get really specific on how we charge. So it does put me in a weird, I don't feel like that's not my comfort zone, negotiating prices, but I'm learning that, and I feel empowered by that.
Hold on, I got some ideas here. Okay, first of all, this is from personal experience. I think most people have no idea how much things cost, period. I think they have no idea how much your services cost, how much time is involved, and how much furniture costs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how much your experience is worth.
Well, and how they don't, because they can't, the amount of value that you're adding to the property pays for yourself. So whatever. But also, can't you just say no?
You totally can. I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Okay.
So I've learned that over time. I also want these jobs because I enjoy them too, so I'm like, well, God, I want to be a part of it. This is fun, But yes, I'm learning that, and I do know that that's one of the biggest pieces. It's just learning that people actually don't understand the cost. So the better I do my job of breaking down what it costs on my end to explain that, the more it helps everybody understand. So that's another part of learning the business, that I've got to really be specific in how I show how we're going to bring the dollar up front and how much it costs to do everything, and be very upfront about everything so nobody's surprised at any point, because that's not a fun position for anybody to be in either. You don't ever want the client to be like, I had no idea it was going to cost this. So that I want them to know ahead of time, this is what it's going to cost.
I just wonder also, I mean, as an aside from that, if it's personality thing, you know, like there's the person that asks for a discount on every single thing. And like me, I work my fucking ass off all the time. And so I will never ask anybody for a discount. I won't.
Right. Yeah.
I respect them. You know, if I'm hiring them and whatever, like I'm just going to pay them what they ask me to.
Same. Yeah.
So I always just wonder about that, you know?
And I think there's like different, maybe generations and different times or different
Yeah.
fields that that there's a misunderstanding
You're
in
right.
that, and a misunderstanding in how maybe design as a career was at a time, or it was very negotiable. And but that's where I try to show up and show this is why it costs this much.
Yeah.
Like this is directly where the money is going. We're not just like, this is a number. You know,
Right. And do it because I'm awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Which is what I say.
Yeah. Have you had to
Should do
fire
that.
anybody yet?
I've not. I had one time years ago, and it was a friend, and he was
Friends are the worst.
It was so hard, and he's so smart that it it was a constant inundation. And honestly, I was so young at the time, it was intimidating to me.
Yeah.
He was older than me and so intelligent, and just on top of it, that it scared me a little bit. And I was, at the time I was like 28, so.
Yeah.
Not since then. We try to, in the beginning talks, understand.
Is this
that,
a match?
Yeah, exactly.
Are we gonna be able
we're
to work
both
together?
interviewing each other in
Sure.
the beginning, so we don't get to the point where we're
Right.
Yeah.
in a weird spot.
I heard you talking before we were recording that, your brother-in-law is your agent, and he said that you are like the worst client, or
Yes.
just really difficult, or I don't know what the word was, but it's a common theme.
Yes.
Working with friends or family, and they're like, oh, you can do it for, family and friends discount or whatever. And it's like, come on, it's me. It's like, yeah, I know it's you.
Yeah.
That's why the fucking price is double.
Yeah, my time is still attached to the end of this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you are gonna feel like it's you're allowed to call me at 10 p.m. because
Right.
it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. I so do that to my brother-in-law. I'm sorry, Jamie. I'm like, I text him houses all day, and I can't help it, and I know it, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. It's like a fidget. Like, just want to talk. But yes, I'm like friends and family. It's hard.
Well, and the other thing that I think would be so hard about working with somebody like you while you're shopping for a home is that you're going to be all over the place location wise. And then
yeah.
I'm like, I have clients that send me stuff. I'm just like, that is no, or like, that is not what you said you wanted. And, you want to live in front of this ditch. I'm thinking all these things. I'm not saying any of these things.
Oh, see,
okay,
Jamie
but-
will say these things to me.
Right.
Yeah.
He can. But I mean, it's just like, when somebody's all over the place, I think we feel a little bit threatened by that. When somebody has direction, same probably for your
Absolutely.
clients.
Absolutely.
When somebody's like, this is what I want, this is where I want it, then it's so much easier to be helpful. Like I met with a client yesterday and she told me all of these possibilities, and really the only target that I have is 1.6 million. The location is variable, what she buys is variable. She could buy 2, she could buy 1, and I'm just like, I don't even know where to start with that.
Right.
And I've been doing this forever, and it's so anyway, that's the only reason that you're
Yeah.
driving him crazy.
Oh, totally. And that makes perfect sense too, because you're right. When somebody comes at me and their style's all over the place, or
Yeah.
they tell me they want one thing, but then they send me things that aren't that.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, you're
I'm
like,
a little
get
threatened,
your
and I'm
shit
like,
together.
wait a second. I don't know if you're gonna like anything that I bring to you, because I don't know if you know what you want yet. So yeah, that's a good way to look at it too.
But the thing with you, if I'm Jamie, is when you find the thing you want, you're just going to buy it. So I don't even need to give you any input.
Oh,
I
right.
just feel,
Right. That's
you
where I'm
just-
like,
and-
I'm gonna find it. So-
Right. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're just like, text from her. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's got.
He should
this point.
just snooze or whatever.
Yeah, I think he does sometimes. No.
I want to ask you real quick. You were on a show on HGTV. So tell us about that process, what you learned from it, what were like, what went the way you thought it would and what didn't, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on a show called Breaking Bland. And it was so fun. We filmed 7 homes here in Charleston. And I mean, that was a whole new world to have it. They really do go that fast. You're in and out of these homes a lot faster than you think. So that was nerve-wracking for sure, because my number one thing, and I was on it with John Frick, our number one thing together was, we might do it that fast, but the quality can't be compromised, because this is our community, these are our friends, and that's our standard.
Yeah, it's your name.
It's our name, absolutely. And I just could never put somebody in that situation. So that we put so much pressure on ourselves, and to make sure that to make sure that we're getting these done, not just done on time, but really well. So that was, but also now I'm like, we can do things faster.
Yeah. I know
we
you
can.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get it it's a lot easier to get people to move faster when there's cameras than it is without. But it was a great experience. We met some amazing people, did it all on camera, and it's different because you're picking out the designs, but also I do have restrictions, and I'm kind of told how to gear the designs, and what there's,
It's not just like people behind the scenes letting you do whatever you want.
Right.
Or in
produced.
a normal situation. Yeah.
Yeah, things are
it's
produced
staged.
for sure.
Yeah.
But was it good for your business?
Yes and no, honestly. It was great exposure, but it's taken me 2 years to get back into the luxury market. So it hit a different demographic. So that was, and which is great, and that was so fun, but it inundated a lot of my emails and channels, but it was really hard to sift through what's real and what's not.
Right.
And understanding what it really costs to do construction, because that is heavily discounted, and versus what is portrayed. So that was a difficult thing to step back into what reality is. And I took a break. So we stopped filming. They were supposed to air right away. And at the time when we filmed, I ran both of my business and filmed at the same time, which was next to impossible, because I didn't have a team and was doing it all by myself. And I just ran myself into the ground, working weekends, working nights, trying to make it all work. Because also COVID had happened, and my husband is a musician, and he'd lost his job. So in my brain, I was like, I've got to do this. So after we finished and we were supposed to air and then hopefully have the next season, I said, I'm going to take a break on my personal clients, because that's not a good position to put them in either, because I'm not reachable all day. And that was detrimental, because it didn't air right away, and the market was hot then, so I lost a lot of business. And then when it finally did air, then we were kind of back and forth and didn't know if we were going to have another season. Then we got another season, and it was taken. Then we had to film another pilot. It just went so long, and I lost a valuable year of work and mental health and all that stuff. So that was a poor decision on my part to stop work, but I just didn't understand how I could do both. I wanted to go all in on the show. So it was great it was a great experience. I wouldn't take anything back, but I can't necessarily say that it was great for business.
You learned lessons.
I learned a lot of lessons, very valuable lessons, and I'm grateful for that.
Of course.
Yeah. What was the first hire that you made for your business support, to somebody to help you?
So I've had contract help here and on and off for years, but I had my neighbor help me on Isle of Palms, who previously was in finance, because she was so great with that's what I needed help with the most, the back end, spreadsheets, organizing, project management, how can I keep these projects flowing? And she was wonderful at, she's on it in project management. She built a few spec houses on her own too. And I'm so grateful for her being, to help me kind of keep that flowing. But now I have a woman named Emerson who's been with me for 3 years, and she's like my right-hand woman. I could not walk out the door without her, you know, like she does everything from project management to assisting to design to helping run the team. And she was almost fresh out of, not fresh out of college, maybe 2 years out of college when I first hired her, and just sharp as a tack, and has just been, you know, she's the oldest 25-year-old I know. She's my boss, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. We have one of those too. Cynthia's our boss.
I love her to pieces, and so she's been my first real full-time employee. And then we have a couple of other women who help with design, project management. One's named is Katie Kirby, and another Alex Cranford, and she's an amazing designer. And then helping with the books because there's so many tiny details we can't keep up with it. And that's really important for people to know this too. Interior design is really not a one-person job. It is, when jobs roll, you need a team of people to help catch all the pieces. I always thought when I watched designers growing up, I was like, how do they do all that by themselves? Especially watching TV shows like HGTV. I was like, there's no way that they can do that by themselves. Like, you can only do so many things in a day. And it is just not, you need help.
I'm like, wow, she had 2 hours and ran out and got all that at Home Goods?
Yeah.
You know, like, she
and
really
hit
pulled
the
it
budget.
together.
Yeah, she did. Got it on time, hit the budget, everything was in stock. Like, there's so many moving parts. It's definitely, you need a team to help you.
Cool. All right, do we want to talk about like colors or trends or what? We're out of time? Yeah. Oh.
You're good? All right, keep going.
Okay.
Colors.
Okay.
Do we want to talk about colors or trends, or, you know, what's Mary Welch Fox into right now?
Oh, God.
Or things that are out. Stacy hates shiplap.
Shiplap.
Stacy hates white houses.
Yeah. See, this is this is my interior designer spirit. Human.
Yes. Thank you.
Go for it. Just name them. Who cares?
Thank
what you
you.
like, what you don't like.
Why is it
farmhouses.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we just overdid a bunch
That's
of
what it
things,
is.
you
It's just
know?
the sameness. It's just
the
the
sameness.
constant.
There's not anything wrong with them.
No.
They are beautiful, but there is so much out there, and it can be done tastefully. You don't have to do things wild, you know. I still think an all-neutral house is gorgeous. I love an all-neutral house. But there, you can have fun. I think molding, really intricate molding is back, which I'm excited about. You know, the downtown beautiful molding we can do. I still love natural materials, but you can also take chances in smaller spaces if you're new to taking chances. Go with a small space like you did in the pantry of your house. Loved it. Like, that was awesome. With a fun wallpaper. Wallpaper is still great. You know, plaster is back and it's huge and I love it. Great texture. Same as lime wash. We do lime washing in-house now because it's just so hard to outsource. You know, lighting is always a fun way to add jewelry to the home, and fun lighting doesn't really go out of style to me. You know, you find the right pieces. It's an investment. Let's see. Yeah, I'm excited that that wall molding and plaster, those like old staples have come back, and we're looking at different ways to cover walls and not just shiplap because we've seen it.
Yeah, it's time for a change.
Yeah, time for a change. There's a time and a place now. We do need to protect certain walls that have more weight, like mudrooms with kids and backpacks and throwing their stuff around. I get it. Like, we need to, but it's better to protect the wall so you're not repainting it over and over again. Stairwells, you know, have some guards up in there so you're not where it gets scuffed a lot and you have to keep up with maintenance. So I totally get there's areas where we can have some wood on the walls. It doesn't have to be shiplap. It can be anything. But you know, that's, I think we can.
Yeah, I mean, she's being diplomatic, but let me just give you an example. You need a professional to like tell you these things sometimes, because I watched one of my favorite gay stylists at Saks go through and talk about the new jean trends or whatever. And he's like, we've been doing a skinny for way too long. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. I'm like the old lady. I have all I have is skinny jeans. It's the only thing.
Yeah.
But I needed him to tell me.
Yeah.
I saw that everybody was wearing other things, but I was comfortable in what I was in. And I would like everybody to take our challenge today of thinking about something other than shiplap and a farmhouse.
She's been on the no shiplap train for 3 years at least.
Yep. I'm with you, girl. I know. I hear it all day, every day, and I'm like, oh, shiplap. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
And anything else to add?
Oh gosh. Thanks for having me. I love following y'all's podcast. This is so fun. I've obviously, like, real estate is a hobby for me. I would be your worst client.
Thank you, Jamie.
Exactly. When I went through your house, I was telling the agent there, I was like, I want to get my real estate license. Maybe I could just join y'all and y'all can teach me how to do it. And I was like, I would drive them nuts.
They all do, actually. Join the club.
Yeah.
No. And if anybody has any 80s houses that they want to get rid of, give us a call and throw them to me or Mary Welch, and we'll take them and make them cool.
Absolutely.
Anyway, tell everybody where to find you online.
You can find me. I do have one thing to add.
Oh, go.
Yeah.
Okay, when I look at real estate here, and this is like something that I've been meaning to tell agents, there's so many vibey houses out there's Ravens Run, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of those big houses that look like they've been all,
Yeah.
that they have too much going on inside. Those houses they have so much potential.
Okay, but you have the vision.
Yes.
Okay. Ravens Run is an unbelievable neighborhood.
Unbelievable.
But you and I can look at a 90s house and be like, all right,
This is killing
all you see is the blank canvas.
Yeah.
And you have these huge lots and you have so much privacy and you're in this insane location.
Oh, yeah.
But me showing that to my client, they're like, ew. I'm telling you, I can't. I'm just like, just look at this.
I need to do like a series on how to make that.
I know.
Let me just show you really quickly how we can do this
In your
AI.
spare time.
Yeah.
But no, but you're exactly right. And I will always throw those things to my people, but most people just don't have any vision.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they can
It's so
see
hard to see
fixing
it.
up something historic, but they really have a hard time when it comes to 80s and 90s houses. And it would be so cool if we could do renderings. And I know, like, if I had a listing in Ravens Run, it would be great, but I can't like call you and be like, hey, how much would it even cost? Thousands of dollars. And then I need to list it next week.
Right.
But that would be in a perfect world where we could display what's possible. That would be amazing.
Absolutely.
If you know you're going to sell something far in advance, let's say you're inheriting a property or whatever, it's a divorce situation, call your real estate agent and get them going on something like this. Because if you could invest in having a designer do some renderings, this is the kitchen room, just really the front facade, because the way we can show things now, it does almost look real.
Oh yeah.
And
it
you
looks
can
so
make
good.
anything look like anything. You can make anything look cool.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much. I see those sit on the market for so long, and I'm like, I
I'm
wish I
so
could
glad you said
get
that.
a hold of people to say, like, this is what it could look like. you
Right.
know?
Like
how do we tell people this?
I know. Like my house I bought was taupe vinyl siding, had been sitting on the market forever. It had a red roof and red mulch. And I know why it was passed up. It looked like a 1986 ship clubhouse inside. Mm-hmm. And, all I saw was a ranch, an 80s ranch in Mount Pleasant.
With good light.
Score.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Skylights and everything. So, yeah, but look where no one else is looking. But
Yeah.
we're weirdos.
Weirdos unite.
Anyway, all right, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram. I have 2 accounts, one personal and one for business, MW Fox Stasik and Mary Welch Fox Design, and then a website, marywelchfox.com.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. Great
Thanks
to
for
connect
having
with
me.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Tell all your friends, and we will see you next time.